Hi everybody, this is Mr. Han. Here are our notes on subtracting integers. So far we've already talked about adding integers. In order to do subtracting integers, we need to really be comfortable with adding integers. This will all make sense to you as we're taking our notes, but what we're going to do when we subtract integers is we're going to take every problem and change it to adding integers. So if you're comfortable with all of this on this top part, then good luck. Smiley face. Okay, you're going to be able to do the second part better. So because adding integers is so important, I'm going to kind of review really quickly. First things first, what is an integer? A positive or negative whole number. And so when we added integers, we talked about two things, right? Are the signs the same or are they different? If the signs were the same, we added the numbers and kept the sign. If they were different, right? If the signs were opposite, what we did is we subtracted the numbers and we kept the sign of the larger number, right? The larger numbers in quotes, it's not really the larger number, but it's the number greater than further from 0. Okay, so if you need to, you could pause the notes right here and just kind of read through this, make sure you fully understand, because like I said, every problem is going to change into an addition problem. So here, look, subtracting equals adding a negative, or technically I'm going to change this to adding the opposite, right, of second number, because not every number that you subtract is going to be positive, so it's really we're adding the opposite. But for these first couple examples, particularly here, okay, I'm looking right here, all of the second numbers are going to be positive. So look, 7 minus 3, our first example. Well, we all know 7 minus 3 is 4. Okay, hopefully you can do that with your fingers. If you don't remember 7 minus 4, 7 minus 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, no, the question is 7 minus 3. So 7 minus 1, 2, 3, our answer is 4. Okay, now every subtraction problem, we're going to change it to an addition problem. So how do we do that? We're going to always keep the first number. So look, 7 is always going to be the first number. We're not going to change the first number. Okay, but what we're going to do is we're going to change this subtraction problem right here, and we're going to make it an addition problem. So 7, the first number doesn't move or change, and we're going to change it to an addition problem. Now when we do that, we need to be super clear and look at the second number. The second number, right, we already dealt with 7 and minus. So the second number, 3, the opposite of positive 3 is negative 3. So we're taking the second number, we're going to do the opposite of. So that's how we got this right here. 7 plus negative 3, which is 4. And remember, we could use our fingers and go 1, 2, 3, and go, our answer is 4. So this is the process we're going to do over and over again. So hopefully, if you're not fully understanding now, you're going to see a pattern, because in math there are lots of patterns. So the second example, negative 9 minus 2. So the first number will never change, right, when we're subtracting or adding, really. First number will always stay the same. So negative 9, so you're going to see negative 9 doesn't change, right? Negative 9, negative 9. But look, we're going to change the subtraction to an addition. But that means that the second number, right, positive 2, we're going to change it to the opposite, which is negative 2. And if we just look at that, right, negative 9 plus negative 2, we're adding two integers. Are they the same or are they different? Remember how I told you earlier in the notes, right? It's very important that we know how to add integers. So here we're adding integers. Negative 9 plus negative 2. Well, they're both negative, so they're the same sign. And when they're the same, we add. We add, and then we keep the sign. And it's going to be 9 plus 2 is 11, negative 11. All right? So I'm going to go through a couple of examples and show you exactly what we're doing today. Hopefully you're starting to see the pattern. The first number, negative 5. We don't change it, but we know that we're going to change the subtraction, right, to an addition problem. So subtraction minus, change to a positive. Every subtraction problem we're going to change to an addition problem. So negative 5 plus, and what we need to do is we need to look at the second number. And the second number is positive 5. So the opposite of positive 5 is negative 5. Once we do that, it's adding integers. Negative 5 plus negative 5 is negative 10. Our next example, 13 minus 7. So this is the same thing as saying 13. And we're going to change this to a plus, right? And that means we're going to take the second number. I'm going to start highlighting the second number. Highlight it in yellow, right? We'll highlight that number. Second number is positive 7, so it's going to become negative 7. The opposite. Okay, so 13 plus negative 7 is the same thing as 13 minus 7, but here 13 plus negative 7, we're taking different signs, or opposite signs, so we need to subtract and keep the number of the sign of the larger number. So 13 minus 7 is 6, and 13 is the bigger number, or the number further from 0, so it's going to become a positive, or stay positive. Next example, 8 minus 14. We want to keep the same number. 8, first number never changes. Minus becomes plus. And we're going to take the second number. I'll highlight, like I said earlier. I'll just highlight this. And just highlight that to be consistent. So 18 minus becomes 18 plus. And the opposite of positive 14 is negative 14. And then 14 minus 8, because we're adding integers, they're opposite signs, we're going to subtract. 14 minus 8 is 6, and it's going to be a negative 6. So here we're going to take this first number, it's not going to change, so it's going to stay the same. Negative 7, but this minus, we're changing to a plus. That means we need to take the second number, which is a positive 14, and change it to negative 14. Negative 7 plus negative 14 is negative 21. Alright. So, if you noticed, all of the examples from the first 4 examples are, the second numbers are all positive. Look, this is positive 5, this is positive 14, this is positive 14, this is positive 7. So all of our examples right now do the we're subtracting a positive. But what happens when you subtract a negative, right? So this is just a quick reminder, when you subtract a negative, like 5 minus negative 2, so we're subtracting, right, a negative number. So we're going to change that first one, subtraction, to an addition. But what's the opposite of negative 2, right? Positive 2. So that's the concept here. If you remember distributing, it's like distributing a negative, and a negative times a negative is a positive. So here are some quick examples. 6 minus negative 7 becomes 6 plus, right? This becomes a plus, and then the opposite of negative 7 is positive 7. So 6 plus 7 is 13. Here, negative 5, first number doesn't change. Minus, we're going to change it to a plus, an addition problem. But the second number, right, now it's a negative. What's the opposite of negative 12? Positive 12. And here, they're opposite signs. So we're going to subtract. 12 minus 5 is 7. Here we go. All these examples right here, they're all subtracting a negative. So the first number, 8, doesn't change, plus the opposite of negative 14 is positive 14. 8 plus 14 is 22. Done so. Next. And if you need to slow down, you could always rewind, pause, and move forward. Next example. -7. Our first number never changes. We're going to take this minus, change it to an addition. Every problem we're doing here for subtracting integers, we're changing it to an addition problem. So -7 plus addition. -7 plus, the opposite of the second number is -4, or the opposite of the second number is +4, right? Because the opposite of -4 is +4. -7 plus 4, opposite sign, so we're going to subtract 3, and the answer is negative because 7 is further from 0. Example 13, -11, first number doesn't change, plus the opposite of -14, so plus 14. And notice that every time you have a minus negative, it becomes just a plus positive. So 11 minus 14, -3.
It's +3, not -3.
Last one, -16. The first number doesn't change. And this subtraction, we're going to change it to an addition problem. That means we have to take the opposite of the second number. The opposite of -14 is +14. And now it's an addition problem. They're different signs, so we're going to subtract. 16 minus 4 is 2. The answer is negative because 16 is further from 0. Alright. Well, here are our notes on subtracting integers. Whenever we're subtracting, it's like adding the opposite of the second number. Okay, so subtracting is like adding the opposite of the second number. Okie dokie. Hopefully this was helpful for you. If you have any questions, make sure you ask. Good luck.